We're getting a new glimpse inside the roller coaster relationship between former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and former President Donald Trump. Today, the Washington Post is reporting a phone call between Trump and McCarthy after McCarthy was ousted from the speakership. The reporting is, during the call, Trump lambasted McCarthy for not expunging his two impeachments and not endorsing him in the 2024 presidential campaign. That's according to people familiar with the conversation. Quote, F you, McCarthy is claimed to have then told Trump. I want to bring back our panel on this, including Leanne Caldwell, because Leanne, this is your reporting. Very interesting that McCarthy is telling people that he told the former president to blank off.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And so the McCarthy team says there were no curse words that were said, but this is how McCarthy is recounting this conversation. And it was a tense conversation in the sense that McCarthy said, why didn't you save me? Why didn't you do anything when I was being ousted? And Trump said, well, why didn't you endorse me? Why haven't you expunged my impeachments? And so it was a very tense phone call. But my colleague Paul Kane reminded me this morning that this is a similar interpretation that McCarthy had after January 6th, when he said that he cursed out the president after January 6th, saying, what were you doing? What were you thinking? And then the president had said on the record that no, that was not how that phone call went. So it's just very interesting in their relationship. They have talked and they have texted since, our sources tell us. And also the relationship between Trump and McCarthy has always been on again and off again. Sometimes it's codependent and sometimes it's not on great terms.
Codependent, I feel like there's one picture that speaks volumes about that term, codependent, and I don't even need to probably explain to Mike. There you go. I don't even need to say it to the control room because everybody knows what I'm talking about. Codependent, the end of January 2021, after you said, Leanne, that he recounted some tough words with the former president. He goes down to Mar-a-Lago and he's changed.
He might as well have been holding a life raft there, because that's what Kevin McCarthy was giving to former President Donald Trump, something 22 days after the insurrection, a week after he left office. Trump was on the verge of becoming isolated and marginalized by Republicans, and Kevin McCarthy revived him, resuscitated him, and here we are. But loyalty is a one-way street, as the former speaker is finding out.
McCarthy also spoke at the New York Times Deal Book Summit and talked more about, in his own words, about his relationship with Donald Trump. He said, I have an interesting relationship with Trump. I do not criticize him on television because I don't think it's right and I know it drives him crazy. And I don't know I'll have any influence if you do that. But my personal conversations with him, we have very clear personal conversations.
Right. Well, interesting. I think we can all agree that that's accurate, that they do have very interesting interactions. But, like Jeff said, it's just there are so many other instances where, loyalty has not translated for Donald Trump in the way that you would think. Because if Kevin McCarthy is the person who is broadly credited or blamed for resuscitating Trump after the insurrection, then you would think that particularly when McCarthy is having his own political troubles, that Trump would exert some of that influence over House Republicans in terms of trying to keep Kevin McCarthy in power. But he didn't do that, and they are where they are. And it's just the reporting was fascinating. It's just another chapter in chronicling this very up and down relationship that we've seen for some time now.
While we're on the subject of Kevin McCarthy, we talked about the balance of power in the context of George Santos. And if he is ousted, the Republicans will have one fewer vote. Question is also whether Kevin McCarthy is going to stay. Obviously, very different reasons from George Santos. Let's just remind people, you see on the screen there, 222 to 213. Here's another thing that McCarthy said on that topic to the New York Times. If I decide to run again, I have to know in my heart, I'm giving 110%. I have to know that I want to do that. I also have to know if I'm going to walk away, that I'm going to be fine with walking away. If you just got thrown out as speaker, you'd go through different stages, would you not? And then you got to turn around and make a decision.
Yeah. So the decision time is coming. In California, you have till December 8th to file for re-election. Because he's an incumbent, he's given an extra 5 days, so he has until December 13th. And my sources tell me that he is seriously contemplating leaving, but he hasn't made that decision yet.
Okay, guys, thanks. Great discussions, great reporting.